Bruce and Donna Montague have finally reached a settlement with Ontario Civil Remedies for Illicit Activities, or the CRIA, to keep their house. The civil forfeiture of their family home has now been dismissed after a 15-year court battle that occurred after the husband and wife let their firearms licenses expire in an act of civil disobedience in response to what they deemed an attack on gun owners with the implementation of controversial Bill C-68. They wanted their day in court to fight the constitutionality of the bill. I actually had a chance to talk to Bruce about why he and his wife thought it was so important to do this. Here.
The government has a place and they've got limits. That's what our Constitution was written for in the first place. There's limits to the government, and that's the majority of what's in the Constitution. That's why we have a right to arms, for our defense. Now, if you read into Blackstone's commentaries, when that right first became put into place, he expanded on that and explained what our defense was. It wasn't defense against just common ordinary thieves and crooks that might break into your home, that's part of it as well, but it's against the government itself. It's to keep the government in check and in balance. And it's an uncomfortable thought to have to shoot back at your own government, but the thing is, the way human nature is, and we're all the same, if you got absolute power, it will corrupt you absolutely. I mean, that saying became famous for a very good reason. The government cannot have absolute power over its people, or else the result will be chaos. It will end up in a total collapse, I'm sure of it.
To add more to the story, Bruce was a licensed gunsmith that often serviced the guns of the Ontario Police, and he and his wife are well-respected members of their community. What transpired for this otherwise law-abiding couple as a result of letting their licenses expire was unexpected. The courts decided to make an example of Bruce, and he was charged with 26 paper crimes. His firearms collection, worth well over $100,000, was seized by the feds, and a lifetime prohibition from gun ownership and licensing was placed upon him. Being a gunsmith, that meant that his livelihood was also gone. He'll never be allowed to practice in his trade again. What's more is that he was sentenced to 18 months in jail, of which he served 7 of those months. Here, he describes that experience.
It was a bit of a shocker for me. I don't think I'm a tough guy, but I don't think I'm a wimp either. But I'll tell you, when you get handcuffed, thrown into a cell, told to bend over and cough, that has a tendency to put shivers right down your spine and weaken the knees a little bit. So it was a bit of a shock for me. It just basically knocked me right down on the ground. And it took me a while to recover just from the situation that I was in. I've never been put in jail before and treated like that. Our lawyer brought up a case that happened just before mine, a woman who killed, there was some sort of a love triangle going on. She killed this other man, or was it anyway, she killed somebody. I forget who it was. She was found guilty and sentenced to 2 years house arrest for killing somebody. Now, I never harmed anybody. I didn't even threaten anybody. What my crime was pure and simple a paperwork crime.
Isn't that eye-opening? A murderer gets house arrest while a gun owner that hasn't committed any harmful or violent crimes is sent to prison. It's just a solidification that gun owners are treated like second-class citizens and criminals in this country. Here, Bruce points out some of the differences of having a driver's license and a gun license.
Many anti-gunners, they like to ask me the question, well, they license cars. You have a license to drive a car. What's the difference between having a gun license? Well, I wouldn't be complaining at all if my gun license was the same as a car license, but it's not. If you drive a car without a license, you don't get a criminal record. They don't lock you up for 1.5 years or 5 years is what the gun laws are. That's ludicrous to think that, but that's what they do with the gun licenses.
I thought this was such a good analogy to compare how people that are legal firearms owners are treated with people that are licensed to drive. A car owner doesn't get thrown in jail, and their livelihood doesn't get taken away from them driving without a license. Bruce and Donna Montague are prime examples that gun owners can. I know this sounds like outrageous punishment for an act of civil disobedience. Keep in mind that all charges were tied to letting licenses expire, but this wasn't enough punishment in the eyes of the law or in the eyes of the Government of Ontario. The Ontario Civil Remedies for Illicit Activities, or CRIA, as I mentioned previously, filed an application to take the Montagues home under civil forfeiture laws. These laws allow the government to take property that they deem ill-gotten through crime in order to compensate victims. In an even more stunning move, though, the CRIA offered the husband and wife a chance to settle out of court for $50,000, but only if they agreed to never speak about it publicly. Think about that for a moment. Is this a government shakedown to get cash payments out of citizens? And do they do it often? And even worse, is the government applying for civil forfeiture in an attempt to profit off of citizens? Of course, the Montagues refused the offer, and I'm so happy to report that they just recently reached a settlement that allows them to keep their house. It seems like a small victory for the family, and that's also something I had a chance to ask Bruce about.
This doesn't really feel like a victory. I mean, they shouldn't have been going after my home in the first place.
Yeah.
This isn't a victory at all. I mean, why should I feel great about this? In a sense, we feel relieved. We don't feel great about it. We feel relieved, but they're persecuting, not prosecuting, persecuting thousands of people in this country just simply because of the fact they own firearms. And
Yes.
I feel that's all this is. Being a firearms owner in this country is politically incorrect, and it just seems like all these mindless, sadistic bureaucrats all want their kick at the cat. Says, there's a firearms owner. Let's pretend that he's some sort of organized crime boss. He's profiting from crime. Let's take his home away, just to make him squirm a little bit. After all, he's only a gun owner.
I also asked him if the fight was worth it and what's next.
It's worth it. Remembering what my lawyer told me years ago is that even losing, it's worth it. I mean, I did this not for the benefit of me. Even if I won, I would not have come out ahead in the court case. I was trying to do this for the benefit of all Canadians. We have a constitutional right. We have a right to life in this country, and I don't want to see us slide downhill into a totalitarian regime. That's what I was trying to protect this country from sliding into, and I still firmly believe in that. I just haven't got the resources to continue fighting it anymore. Well, I don't plan on protesting anymore.
Those days are over?
Yeah, they can make human sacrifices legal in downtown City Hall. That's their problem. I've got nothing left in me. I'm penniless. We're living paycheck to paycheck right now. No savings, no retirement savings, nothing. So, my wife and I, we're basically going to have to work for the rest of our lives now until we drop because there's nothing left.
Bruce and Donna Montague have nothing left after their long battle with the government and court system. But Bruce still believes that if enough people speak out and know their rights, that change will happen. He believes that the government has limits and people need to challenge them at every single opportunity. Even though the Montagues have settled with the government to keep their house, it will likely take more time for that agreement to become a reality for the family. I've received a lot of emails from viewers like you asking how to help the family, and they request that all donations be made to the Canadian Constitution Foundation that have provided their legal counsel for free throughout their case. You can visit their website at theccf.ca, which I've included a link to in the text portion of this story. You can click the donate button on the top right-hand corner to help the foundation continue with the Montagues fight. For the Rebel.media, I'm Holly Nicholas.
Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of the Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.